Hello and welcome back to the Taverb, my beautiful peasants. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited for this. Also, why am I so nervous? Like, I haven't done actual hundreds of streams. I have no idea. But hello, it's been so long. It's been 2 weeks, which I guess in hindsight is not that long. But for here, that's a very, very, very long time. Things look slightly different. The structure is going to be slightly different. I don't even use Streamlabs anymore. I use Stream Elements. I overhauled literally everything. Yes, new layout. It looks way different. Oh, I'm so excited. It was a lot of hard work, and I have rebuilt the stream like 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I would do it and be like, yeah, garbage. Do it again. The same way I built the website. The website, what you guys see now, also wasn't what it was the first 3 times. But I'm really excited about this. My very, very first layout idea looked more like an enchanted garden, and I'm like, damn it, I destroyed the Taverb. That was like my one job. So I have rebuilt this on Taverb. Oh my god, it's Rudy! Hey! What a perfect time to come back, too. Yes, mead on the house for everyone. we really look like a Taverb. And we actually have some fun little decorations for Halloween right here. It's gonna change, obviously not be Halloween forever, just so you guys know it's not a haunted Taverb. It's just because it's literally almost October. But yeah, I would have more fun assets on, but I need to recompress them, and I didn't want to do that, so we get 3 today. Hey Monkey, hello, hello. I really appreciate the warm welcome back, I really do. I'm also just realizing I don't have any music playing, it's just me listening to myself. Anyway, I hope you guys have been really good. The last 2 weeks have been fantastic for me. I know I didn't really clarify a whole lot. I want you guys to know that I wasn't like suffering or anything. Like, things have been really good. I just had to figure out like what does streaming look like, because streaming kind of evolved to become, you know, a big part of my job. But it wasn't my job. But I treated it like my job, and I'm like, okay, it's either my job or it's not my fucking job. And I've decided upon a lot of discussion with Ricky, my husband, other part of M3DM, it is my job. So what does that look like? If I'm gonna make streaming my job, what does that mean? And that means caring, you know, and putting more time and effort into it. I already put time and effort into it, but now it's like I have money I can spend on it now too. So we took all of the donations that you guys have been, you know, that showering us with, and the memberships, all that kind of stuff, and we had more than enough budget to get lighting, camera update, mic update, buy an overlay, all kinds of stuff. I also had enough money to buy Marvelous Designer. So thank you guys so much. It literally directly helps the stream. A lot of you guys are also students, and a lot of you guys have also supported me on Patreon. So yeah, it's awesome, and it literally makes this possible. So what exactly has changed? Well, it looks different. There we go. If you're super observant, you'll notice that there's text on the screen. At the bottom, it says, want these files, M3DM students get them on Discord after the stream. So if you're an active M3DM Mentorship Academy student, there is now a channel under 3D modeling called M3DM Student Library. You will not be able to see this unless you have the mentorship student role, which you can only get by being a student on Patreon. If for some reason it's not syncing, just let me know, I can give you the role. Everything you guys see on stream, I will now be sharing with you guys. So what does that mean? I'm not doing requests on stream anymore. It doesn't mean that I won't be working on pieces you will then see on your request. I just got so tired of like the kit bashing thing. Listen, in the beginning, M3DM and the way that I produce things is really fun, right? Like, I'm super fast and it's really cool. But eventually we kind of moved away from artistry, and the more I fell in love with teaching, the more I'm like, this doesn't feel good. So yeah. The stream overhaul is essentially all about creativity and figuring out what does Mia want. My husband and I practically had arguments over it, because he'd be like, what do you want the stream to look like? And I'm like, well, what do you think it should look like? And Ricky's like, what do you want? And I'm like, why would I know that? So that was a lot of it. And after a few weeks of rinse and repeat, I found out this is what I want. I want to pick things I see online that I'm really excited about and make them. Funny enough, I actually gave this as an assignment to Empress, our lovely Empress Tiramisu, unintentional. And then I gave that assignment again to Just Lingual. And I realized the assignment I had given you guys is what I secretly wanted permission to do. So I now have given that assignment to myself, and that's what we do here now. And then the best part is you guys are now going to get said assets. Sater, Mia, stop being avoidant. Anyway, hello, Aloha. Thank you so much for being a member for 7 months and a mod and just being who you are. Aloha says, good to have you back, madame. Thank you for the effort you guys have put into this Taverb reopening. Excited to support the Taverb going forward. Excited to have you here. Speaking of my mods, you guys don't have like powers. Like, you have the normal powers to like mute people, but I don't have any commands set up right now. There's no poing. The peasants have never been poorer, guys. There's no currency. There's no nothing. I really just stripped everything back to be what I want the stream to be about. And I loved all those fun things. I love pulling. I love the duels. I love the heist. But I'm stripping everything back. I'm going to add stuff in as I feel it's necessary. So instead, it's going to be a lot more focused on art. It's just, what is it about? It's about artistry, and that's what we're doing. So some days you'll see a ZBrush stream. Some days you'll see a Marvelous Designer stream. I don't really have them scheduled right now. It's just gonna be about art and creation. You'll notice that you can't see any of my ZBrush UI. That's very intentional. I noticed that people get really caught up in the tool, and the tool just matters so little. Like obviously it's like, oh, did you click Dynamesh or ZRemesh? I understand that. But the actual artistry and the teaching part of it, the button just doesn't matter. I do have a screen, you'll see just in a moment here. You should be able to hear me still. So I do have a screen that is just for teaching right here, and you'll notice I have this thing at the bottom, and it's actually a key capture. So you actually can see what buttons I'm pressing and when. Unfortunately, I move really quick, so the buttons might look like nonsense a lot of the time. I'll do my best. They are Mac OS based, so if you're like, what the heck is it this shape or this shape? Look it up, you'll catch on, I promise. That's spacebar, for example. This is Option, which is Alt on Windows. This is Command, which is Control on Windows. And those are the only two you have to know. That's it. You know what Shift is, a little arrow, and that's it. But I thought that'd be nice. So yeah, let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Sater says, the assignment I was given was secret, something that I wanted permission to do. Killer insight. Get it. Yeah. My mods have been a huge part of me figuring out what I want and then doing said thing. Just by you guys being fucking cool, so thank you. Oh my goodness, Rudy. Yeah, Reefer, I missed you too. I did. I like it too. That is true. They're still going to ask. And yeah, I like stripping it back too, Sater. I thought the pointing stuff, everything was super fun. I just, bleh. The Taverb menu is still open. It'll be open some days, closed on others. Taverb menu just means that if you super chat, you can buy things essentially. If you want to know what those things are, look in the description. Another big part of this remodel is that even though it's my job, I saw how much money I get from students and from some that became patrons. I'm happy with it. Which means every time I remind you guys, like, oh, if you donate, just a part of my soul absolutely dies. I don't have to do that while I create, so I'm not going to. I'll let you guys know, yes, there are things you can buy when you super chat, and that's it. That's it. I literally cannot stand to even tell you guys to like and subscribe. I'm never saying these things again. It's funny how much these little things really bothered me, and now that I've identified them, I don't have to do them, it turns out. Crazy. Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, a huge shout out to all three of my mods. All three of you guys being here is kick-ass. I know you guys have been busy and lifing, so I definitely recognize the effort. Thanks for being here. Also, the most exciting update, we got two more. I have a ridiculous Buc-ee's cup now. It's like the size, it's bigger than my head. It's stupid. I know, it's really tacky. It looks like it's made out of jeans, and the whole thing is textured. Obviously not like jean. It isn't actually made of denim, but I saw it and I'm like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And then I had to get it. So everything has been improved around here. God, that thing is gigantic. Oh my goodness. SoFire says, I missed being at the Taverb. I got too behind on streams to join live, but the grand reopening seemed appropriate. We're super happy to have you here. Oh no, Fate missed the first part. You okay. It's okay. So I don't have a schedule planned. It will be changing from week to week. I am never going to stream on Mondays because I hate it. I only streamed on Mondays because I got a lot of views that day, and I realized, why am I doing that? I don't have to do that. So I'm not streaming on Monday. However, you will know how many times I'm streaming that week by Tuesday. And Ricky and I have made it a hard rule. You will never get less than 2 hours of notice. I don't like that I was like, okay, I'm gonna stream, and then I stream within like 30 minutes. I just didn't like that. So yeah. Man, there's almost 20 people here. Hey guys, welcome back. I really appreciate you being here. All right, let's talk. Oh, there's no segments now either. There's no happy hour, there's no nothing. I will review student work whenever I want to. It's just a big, what does Mia want stream all of the time. And I am really shy about that still. I'm even very nervous right now. It doesn't actually change that much, just a mindset. Anyway, yeah, no more Monday. Ugh. Yes, no more Chaos Mondays. Time for Frantic Fridays. You get me. You get me. God, even fucking Rudy is here. I love it. Good day. Okay, so what are the streams about? The streams are about making assets. And the reason why I made this shift is because trying to cram an entire character into a stream, it was really cool that I could do it. And I think it was like, because I thought it was impressive, that's why I did it. And then eventually I'm like, I feel like a factory worker, and it was just absurd because I work for myself and I'm an artist, and I'm like, why am I doing that to myself? So instead, we're gonna focus on assets because, let's be real, when you're making a character, you're just making assets. By reframing it that I'm focusing on assets, it means that I can dive more into the artistry of it. And if I want to spend an entire hour and a half making a single cloak, the most beautiful cloak you've ever seen, that I can then reuse and make different versions of, that's what I'm gonna do. Sometimes I'll be a Marvelous designer once I figure out how to get better at it. I don't want to stream Marvelous when I'm incompetent because I don't want to give you guys bad habits, but I'm really close to being just competent enough that we can learn together. But anyway, every single asset you see me make on stream will be shared with students. Again, there's a new Discord channel under 3D modeling called M3DM Student Library, and you guys will get access. You will get access to the Z tool, and that means you'll have the subdivision levels, you'll have all the different pieces, and it's all personal use. You can modify, do whatever you want with it. As long as you're not selling it, I really don't care what you're doing. Change it, make it your own project, share it, like, pictures or whatever, go nuts. 3D print it, have fun. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. Hey, welcome in, Steamworks. Hello, hello. Foxy says, Mia, this all sounds like good and needed change. I'm glad you've been brave and gone for it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Sater says, I approve. It's your stream. Make it how you want. We're here for you. The content brought us in. We've all stayed for you and the community built. Lean into that. Be authentic. Yeah. Why is it so tricky to do sometimes? But yeah. Hey, the Forge is here. Hello, Matt. Good to see you're back. I'm being forced to be social, so I have to go be social. If I want to pop in and say, hope your changes work out perfect. Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that. Awesome. And then Aloha says, biggest lesson Mia could teach has already been shown by having healthier creation habits. Aw, make you feel better and allow you to be the best artist you can be. Absolutely. Okay. Breathing. Let's get creative. Isn't that's some part of a kid's show or something? Can't remember. I'm not going that wholesome. Okay. So every single day when you guys come in, you will see a new screenshot next to me here. Today I picked this like really pretty Pinteresty, I don't know, elf, grove, druid. It had to be druid themed if it's gonna be my welcome back stream. I pick whatever I want. And we are going to be creating these assets. The body here is going to say a pitch black silhouette because it is not the point. Every piece here can only rely on how good it is, not the appeal of the whole character. Does that make sense? So I'm excited about that. On the agenda is below me saying we have a cloak, belt, the blouse, pants, and boots to block out and complete. I have 2 hours blocked out for today's stream, and whatever I complete, at whatever stage of completion it is, I don't care if it's polished, I will be sharing with students for you guys to do whatever you want with. So yeah, let's get started. Hello. I'm not that rusty, I need not to read that out loud. Okay. So this folder I have here, I will be providing with students, which means you will also have access to my base meshes here, which were made with ZBuilder and modified a little bit. I have a male and female, that way I can still reuse these assets because that's the name of the game, right? For the most part, it's just fun. Just Single says, maybe the Z tools / subtools are the friends we made along the way. Eye roll. And welcome back. I missed you guys so much. I really did. All right, well, let's get started on... Man, what should I do first? I feel like I haven't sculpted in forever, but I have. I'm gonna do the pants. Let's do some pants. All right, so I guess I don't have to say every single key I do anymore because you guys will actually be able to see that. Crazy. There's already so many little habits here that are totally new to me. And I'm like, it feels so weird to not say what I'm doing. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, and everything's going to stay perfectly black so you guys can't see. I'm just kidding. There we go. Well, that's enough about me. I would love to know what you guys have been up to. I know life can be busy and life can be stressful, so I appreciate you taking some time to hang out at the Taverb. If you're like, I don't have any good updates to share, say less, grab your favorite drink, favorite snack. Don't worry about it. Kick back and enjoy the vibes. We're gonna be making this kind of baggy pant right here. And the way that I've started this is extracting from the body. We got this new sub tool. And now I'm gonna start kind of creating this shape. And because I'm not like super Saiyan mode here, I can just focus on taking my time. That's gonna be a lot of fun for me. Again, I don't think there was anything wrong with the streams I was doing before. I would just like, I kind of forgot who I was doing them for because I really like you guys. I think you're a lot of fun. So sometimes you kind of lose sight of what you want to do. And especially if you're thinking like me, if you don't spend time figuring out what you want, you're not gonna know. No one just like drops down to the sky being like, hey, this is how you fulfill your passions and dreams. Unfortunately, that never happens. You just have to figure it out yourself. Oh, goodness. Oh, Just Lingual says, ooh, I want to see the miniature my wife painted for this month's competition. Heck yeah, I do. Post that on Discord. I want to see it. And Payne's brother got married. Very good. Satyr, I don't have any good updates to share. Maybe next season. Hey, Duke, welcome back. Yeah, good to see you as well. Good, I'm glad Paint likes the button reader. I was already concerned that, again, I click fast, so if it ever becomes kind of useless, sorry. I'm even going to name my subtools because since I'm going to share this with you guys, I feel the need for it not to be garbage. All right, we now have that shape. Simple as that. We're going to move right on along. Hey, nerd, welcome in. And I think it'd be fun to still, if I make multiple assets, I want them to fit together. It's okay if I kind of bounce around. Oh, very good, Rudy. I expected nothing less. And then here are kind of some fun things. You guys will see how I construct them. And I'm so excited for my students to get their hands on these files because they're going to see why I make the kind of choices that I do. There we go. One of these things here you're going to notice is the sleeves are going to be separate pieces than the blouse. If you're wondering why, think for a second of why you think I might do that. So yeah, the reason I do that is so I can have more control over the shirt. It also makes posing a little bit easier, but essentially by making the sleeves separate, I now have two different assets. I have a long sleeve shirt and a short sleeve shirt. Short sleeve shirt. It can be that easy. Paint says it's fast, but I can still read it. Oh, good. Another thing that's important, because we're not cutting corners, it's not about just trying to get this character finished. It's about creating, you know, attractive assets. I want this shirt to look good, even where the belt's going to cover it up. There we go. All right, Rudy says, in addition to War Crimes, Rudy has also been playing lots of Helldivers too and making short clips with my brothers. We're called Bro Divers and we're on TikTok and Instagram. Elden Ring DLC has been fun too. That is so freaking dorky. I love that. Bro Divers. Christ. Oh, that's awesome. I'm still playing my D&D game once a week. The last session went poorly. It was fun though. We just didn't do well. At the very, very end, one of the players asked my DM, like, did we do a good job? And she's like, no. It was not a TPK, but damn was it close. And again, sometimes we will be making complete outfits. Other times we are going to be making just one piece, like a shoe. Don't want to get crazy. You guys know I hate shoes. But on a real note, the fact that I had assets I hate making, and I can quite frankly just tell you guys it's because I'm not good at making them, that's not a very good reason. That's a terrible reason to not like making a certain asset. So I'm like, well, why do I dislike it? And I'm like, again, because I find it very difficult because I haven't had a lot of practice. And the way that I had my stream structured before didn't really allow me a lot of leeway to practice that because, damn it, I'm trying to make a whole character, right? So I'm really excited for this new structure here. Even though ultimately it's very similar. Vibes are still good. Maybe a little bit more chill. Maybe a little more on the Bob Rossi side. And then students now get access to all this stuff too. Because business. No, seriously, more because I was like, why am I not sharing this stuff with my students? You guys would enjoy it so much. It'd be such a win-win. Something else I used to do during my streams is I'd kind of take like shortcuts. Like right here, do you see this blouse? There's like this lapel that kind of folds over itself. And usually I'd be like, well, this is just gonna be for one character, so I wouldn't even bother refining that or even making that piece because it's so small. But it's a huge part of the shirt and what makes it look good. So I'm actually gonna be able to take the time to make that. And if you notice, what I did was I simply duplicated the shirt, masked out a shape that was kind of lapel shaped-ish, and then simply deleted it to where that was all that was left. And now I kind of have this segment here, just like that. I'm really paying attention to the neckline here. It's kind of more of like a low plunge. There we go. And again, my goal isn't to copy the reference, it never is, but I want it to be just as elegant. And I want all the main structural pieces to still be there. Oh, paint, that does sound super fun. I like it. Nerd says, yeah, as one of your students, I'm looking forward to it. Yay. And then just a reminder that will be shared in Discord. And we have a new channel that's called M3DM Student Library. So yeah. Hello, I put some memes in our chat already saying, the baby artist trying to look at the new keybind overlay, hoping to understand me, I fully blocked out a full character in 15 minutes. Yeah. Which means I'm going to be blocking out these shoes too, and I don't have to have a meltdown over it. I can just do my best. Which my favorite way to do that is by having a meltdown. Just kidding. All right, I'm going to extract. My hope too is that I have students that will pretty much re-watch the stream and try to be me. They will try to look at this, see that they have the base mesh from, and see how far they get on their own. Or, again, if you don't want to be some super artist, you don't have to. You can just take the freaking assets, put them on your character, and put an extra flower on it, call it a day. That is also more than allowed. I'm surprised how many of my students want to be good. I know that sounds really funny. It's like, what do you mean, Mia? Of course they want to be good. And I'm like, I know, but you don't have to. You can be terrible at your hobbies and still have a great time. Oh, man. There we go. I'm already having a freaking blast. Also, this like little black void mannequin is a decision I made last minute. I made that this morning because I realized it's really gonna sell the point that we're not concerned about the character here. We're just making assets, and that's how you make a character. So for the sash right here, a little bit teaching mode, we have two different layers here. So there's one that comes left to right, and one comes right to left. They're the same thing. So instead of trying to make the sash is one piece, where I kind of like, maybe I'll mask out a big loop here, like this, see how all that's dark? All you have to do is just make one side and then mirror it later. These are the kind of things I want my stream to be about. Again, it's not about the software, it's not about the tools, it's about your choices and how you construct things. So another big thing here is notice the placement. It's right at the smallest point of her waistline. So I don't want to put it here because it's not going to give the same snatched effect. I want it to be here. That's how you're able to reconstruct assets you like and have them be just as successful as your own characters. You have to see why they're being successful. Where is the student library? It is in Discord under M3DM Student Library. I will tag you for now. Hey, I can't remember if you have the mentorship role. Make sure you have the mentorship role. If you don't, I can add it to you manually. Reaper, a classic. Mia, how do you make money as an artist? You don't. That's my new answer. And I also kind of want to mention, I'm not going to elaborate on this very far. If for some reason you have a memory of an old stream where you you got to me. You got under my skin. I let you know, I'm like, you annoyed me a little bit. That's not why I had to take a break from streaming. It was nobody's fault. It wasn't even a big deal. After doing something for a year, you should probably change it up. That's it. I just don't want anyone to think that they're like, I am why she left. I'm like, no, you're fine. You're literally fine. With that being said, it was Sater's fault. I'm joking. I didn't expect to block out all the pieces. I definitely thought I was going to do them like one at a time. The whole process, but this is kind of just what it ended up being, and I'm enjoying it. Right now, I am going to make the like hanging pieces right here. So I'm just gonna take this sash, Ziri mesh by same, to get this a little denser poly count wise, and we're simply gonna make a little belt here. Simple as that. Something else I'm going to be really careful of as I construct these new assets is just proportions. Really taking the time to seeing what makes this piece successful and then making sure that I don't skimp on that. Like right here, I've already made these pieces quite wide. So I'll take my pinch brush and just make them a bit more narrow. I say it all the time, but just here's your reminder that being a good artist, when you're growing, it's really just a big game to spot the difference. And if you cannot spot the difference, that's why it's great to have artsy friends or a mentor to be like, hey, why does this look good, but my thing looks bad? Paint says, how do I get the student role? You can sync it through Patreon, or I can just give it to you. So if you log into Patreon, the one where you're subscribed to the mentorship program, you can actually add your Discord handle there and it will add it automatically. Yeah, pretty fancy. Oh my gosh. You guys can't say that. Can we get the father trauma out of the chat? Jesus Christ. Okay, there's high fives. That makes it okay. Oh, beautiful. All right, last piece here to block out is going to be the cape, and then we can start getting details and deliciousness. So to do the cape, we're gonna do it in multiple pieces. I know, crazy. We're gonna have the hood right here, and then this back swooshing piece. One of the big keys that I kind of forget about when I don't have any capes like this, it actually comes over the front quite a lot, kind of like a vest. And I actually haven't constructed a cape like that before, so that'll be fun. I'll go back to the body, turn on Shift F so I can actually see what the heck is going on. Mask lasso, and we'll start to kind of get this shape happening here. I do want symmetry turned on. There we go. And we don't need to worry about length. We just want to get the shape up here, whatever is conforming to the body. There we go. Is the Taverb gonna have a father trauma booth or a section? Please. No. Here we go. I can already see it in 2 months. Due to popular demand. No. So whenever you have a section like this and it's fitting the body mostly how you want, but now it's time to actually add a bunch of length and change the shape pretty dramatically, that's where you come with your masking brush. You mask a little strip, hold down Command and click, and that will invert the mask, and then you can just stretch this straight down. This is interesting because we have like this pivot point, and this is technically 2 different layers. We will deal with this later. For now, I'm gonna stretch out these polys, and now they're all goofed up, so we're gonna fix it. Go to Ziri Mesh and same. Paint says, okay, I just got to work. Nice. I appreciate you trying to do it on your own, honestly. I was kind of just banking on having to give everyone roles manually, but if you guys get to sync on yourself, that really helps me out. We're gonna make this a richer dark green. and start to get into those really fun shapes. So I just want the bottom to get smoothed out, not the top. So I can mask that by holding Command and dragging. That's kind of grabs that little block there. And then I use Polish by Features, but you can smooth, you can do whatever. You got lots of options. Oh, and this is a request/demand of my students that use my assets. Show me what you're working on. I want to see like what you guys use this stuff for. And you never have to ask permission to post pictures of it. It's sharing the model. Just if you can't sell assets that I've made, but that's it. Share away. And you don't have to put credit cloak from M3DM. I don't care. Just post your stuff. Just enjoy it. Let's be real. Sharing your art is exhausting as it is. Mine is trying to give credit to every single person. Don't worry about it. There we go. I didn't realize this pink insert piece. Really cool. So to create that section, I'm going to duplicate this cape here. We're going to mask the top. Then it's going to be Command and W. That's how you polygroup it. So see, this is before, Command W. Oop, I clicked on E. Nope. Command W, now it's going to be polygrouped. There you go. So if I double click that with Command Shift click, it goes away. So I can delete hidden nice and easy. We're gonna make this little piece here a little bit smaller and start introducing this pink tone, which I'm now realizing that the belt sash thing is a pinkish tone, not in fact just brown. There we go. It's starting to come together. Can we have an update on Ricky's basement? No, but Ricky is woodworking a lot more. Not in the basement. We don't own a basement. And that's been really awesome. So we're selling dice boxes now. They're a pretty penny. I think we're selling them for $99. Yes. And then they're one-offs. So there's no like made to order. We're going to make some that are fun. If you like them, get them. If you're like, wait, I missed it, it's too bad. We are making some different dice designs right now, or lid designs right now. We have just one in the shop right now. It says M3DM, but we'll have different colors, variations, all kinds of stuff as we think they look cool, essentially. So yeah. He is not gone. He is fine. No. Hey, I appreciate you guys doing that. Ricky, buy my dice box. Speaking of, for y'all that haven't been around in a bit, we have a website. Go check it out. And you can go see that awesome dice box that Ricky made. I'm so freaking proud of the website. I still have some improvements that I may make to it, because don't I always? But yeah. How are his knees? Busted. It's almost like we can still hear him. Oh my gosh. Why did I pick the grossest pink of all time? Here we go. That's a little better. Yeah. All right, let's get these shapes shapen a little bit more. Because the boots are really not boot shaped right now. Oh, don't they look ridiculous? Cue why I hate making shoes. No, just kidding. This is a new era of the Taverb, guys. One where I make shoes. There we go. So right now, I'm just, again, it's just a game of spot the difference. I'm looking at what's different here versus mine. And one of them is I have this little notch. And the other is that this is this nice taper and mine looks like this. Obviously, you don't want that. So I'll take my smooth brush and I'll start to fix that. Same with this weird little busted ankle. I don't want that either. And then we'll actually create some volume here to where she should have a calf in there somewhere. There we go. I'm using move and back face mask, but again, the brush just matters so little. And that's why I don't show my UI anymore. I will in teaching moments that are very, very ZBrush specific, but otherwise, there's just no need. I really only use 5 brushes. One of my students, just lingual, was talking to me about that. Like, oh, they kind of pigeonhole themselves into using the same brushes. And I'm like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I think that's a good thing. All right, I'm now going to create the sole of the shoe, and to do that, I simply mask the bottom, Command W to make it a different polygroup. Just like that. Oh, I'm going to turn off perspective too. That way it's nice and flat. There we go. We got these little pieces here. Delete hidden, close holes. We're going to make these a bit larger. Oh, those are the ink black toes of the model. I'm like, what are these black things? It's just her feet, do not be alarmed. There we go. So something tricky about making shoes I want you guys to remember is that shoes do change the shape of our feet. So don't be afraid to squish those toes in, because that's what your shoes actually do. I'm sure we'll have at least one person in the chat who feels very passionate about shoes and how they should be feet shaped. I get you, but they're not. So for now, squeeze in those toes. My boots are also a lot taller than the ones in this reference. I'm gonna kind of scoot these on down a little bit. And then we're gonna add some of these straps here using curved strap snap. Why are these so twisted? That's a new one. It didn't do it again. So that's another thing when you're, again, this is why I don't want to emphasize the tools so much, because they just don't matter. I know there's a curve brush I can use, and that's really cool, so that's why I'm doing that. But even then, my best advice for curve brushes when they look funny, I'm like, just do it again. And it's like, isn't there a way to make it behave more reliably? And I'm like, well, no. Make sure that you're asking your brush to do something that's actually possible, is my best advice. I'm going to grab all of these different strap sections. I'm masking them and splitting them to their own piece. That we can have all these little belts and stuff contained. Shift F, you'll notice I use a lot, and that's what's activating this wireframe here, so I can actually see what the heck is going on. And that's how you block out a really simple shoe. We're now gonna make the sole and the actual shoe itself one piece. Cannot believe my first stream back and I'm making shoes willingly. Anyway, shoes bend a little bit at the toe. Again, you can kind of scoot those feet out of the way because shoes move your feet. It's the truth. Duke says, feet are gross. Feet shouldn't even be feet shaped. Yes. Reaper says, I'm just glad you're finally conquering your fear of shoes. I guess I am. Oh, hey, Dr. Wildfire's here. Ooh, pretty layout. Thank you so much. I am so proud of all of this. I talked about our D&D session and how, like, it was fun, but we didn't do very well. And then your husband play tested it later and did it by himself. I don't believe you, but that was very cool. Good for him. Happy for you. All right, that is enough shoe nonsense. Actually, we might as well throw some little flowers on there. What kind of flowers do I want on this? I do like this more petally. I try to avoid stuff like this because it's very, very thin and 3D printing says no. Can you 3D print it? Of course you can. If there is a will, there is always a way. But I don't feel like fighting the printer. If there's an easier printing alternative, you should just do that. There we go, added some flowers. And then I would also like to add some leaves. I love the vine effect here. So let's make a vine on this shoe and I'll show you how. You're gonna grab a brush, a tube brush could be great. Your goal is just to make it so that there's going to be a shape like this. If you are in fact using a curve brush, you can go over to picker and change it from once Z to continuous Z. You can actually see that here. But again, your goal is just to get a little snaky shape, kind of like this. Once you have that, I recommend dynameshing it pretty much right away at a somewhat low resolution. And you can kind of start moving it around. There we go. What makes vines look really, really good is having multiple and having them kind of like weave on top of each other. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment here. So we have that one right here, but what's gonna really make it look good is by having another that kind of moves over it. And then if you want, you can also add leaves. The easiest way to add leaves is to append some sort of shape. You can either go to a pen, you can grab an IMM primitive brush, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna use the IMM primitive brush and click and drag to create this little capsule. I'm gonna help myself a little more by adjusting the depth. But again, the important part is that you just have something that's leaf shaped. I don't really care how you get there. All right, now I have this little leaf pairing. And so if I hold down Command and click and drag somewhere on this gizmo, I recommend grabbing an arrow just so it's kind of like an easier muscle memory for you. You can duplicate it really easily. It's very intentional that I did this really cute vine detail on one shoe, but not on the other. Just so it doesn't look too samey, that's all. There you go, some simple shoes. We're gonna lower the leg of the pant now, so it's a little closer to the reference. There we go. I still can't believe that the first hand detailed was shoes willingly. Crazy. Dr. Wildfire said, you can 3D print anything if you try hard enough. This is so true, my goodness. Sapphire says, does anyone else just chat to their characters? Like, miss, your knees are showing. Men have gone to battle for flashes of ankle. All the time. What do you think I do when I'm not streaming? Taylor says, what are you sculpting today? I'm sculpting a batch of assets. So the streams have taken a bit of a change here, where instead of focusing on a character, I can just take my time and just make assets that I really like. So that's what we're doing today. I'm just grabbing bits and pieces from this. I'm probably just tackling the whole thing right now. And making them look really nice. Hello, Empress. Hello, hello. Yeah, I can't. Guns with a range of 480 feet is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That, my brother in Christ, is the sniper. Yeah, ridiculous. Ridiculous. All right. We are going to put the shoes into their own little folder. I'm gonna start practicing like good file organization. So that way when I share these with my students, you guys don't go insane. Some of these might end up having thickness. Some of them might need to be processed a bit. Again, it's just something you guys can play with. Empress, I'm not sure if you just came in or not, but if you just came in, yes, you did hear that right. Students get all of these assets as well. I'll be sharing them with you after every single stream. Just Empress, no one else. Jokes, obviously. Oh, our first nonsense comment. I'm gonna leave it just in case that's just your intro, but hi. It has been a lively stream. I like that. All right, so we're working on these pants right here, and I really just want them to look silky, kind of ruched. We have a decent shape here, so how do we get this shape? I'm thinking it's gonna be multiple subdivision levels. So I'm gonna hide the assets so they're out of the way. There we go. And then I do all my fabric folds simply with the standard brush. What's interesting here is that I'm gonna start using Marvelous Designer on stream and telling you guys all about that. There we go. So I am gonna hit close holes. I do that when the asset is nicely containable. You will not see me use close holes on like the cape, for example. I'm gonna do it so you guys can see how dumb it looks. Do you see how close holes like created this really weird, awful topology? You don't want that. Meanwhile, the pants are a contained thing that makes sense. Hey Dewey, welcome in. Dewey says, I have to ask, I was looking at the About Us section and does Ricky have a mullet? Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I'm so glad that you like the new website. I'm glad. I really enjoyed it. Our B is still allowed in Taverb 2.0. Oh, you betcha. Okay, speaking of, I was gonna keep this a secret, but you guys brought it up indirectly, kind of, not really. I have this dumb effect that I'm really excited about. It should start playing in just a moment here, assuming I remember how to use it. But anyway, essentially, I'm gonna be able to put fun like confetti flower things. Oh, it's not gonna work because I didn't set it up yet. Anyway, bees are coming. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Bees are coming. Okay, W says, it was a response so you can 3D print anything. Oh, gotcha. I just see the emojis and like, I just assumed it was a nonsense comment. It was funny. I discredited your funny. I'm sorry. Welcome in. There we go. Yeah, Ricky has had the mullet for a while. It started as a joke and then it did not because it was very quickly not a joke. Just Single says, Mia, you fold it under no pressure to share the secret. Listen, the Taverb's remodeled, but it's still the same Taverb. All right, so we have this looking good. I'm going to subdivide it and now add these delicious fabric folds. To do that, we're going to use a standard brush. But again, the most important part is just where are you putting the fabric folds? That's really all that matters here. So see right here, wherever there's a shadow, that means the fabric is moving away from you. If there's a highlight, it's moving towards you. So right here, you'll see towards the knee, we have it, there's less fabric, more, less, more. It kind of goes back and forth. So right here, I can hold down Option, and I can carve out a section. See? If I do a stroke I like, I really frequently click number 1 on my keyboard and just to repeat the stroke. You don't have to use that workflow. I just do it because it lets me not have to change my Z intensity so often. And just like that, we kind of have a pretty similar effect to what we were seeing in the reference here. You can go insane with your fabric folds. You can add as many as you want, as long as they're intentional. I definitely like to err on the side of over fabric folding things because I think that they're fun to paint. So right here, anything around like the crotch or anything that moves, so an elbow, a shoulder, anywhere there's a joint, not just your crotch, but there is a joint there, your pelvis, you're gonna see compression folds, which means fabric that is being squished together. And again, the trick is to add material and take away material. You can't just do one or the other. Unless like you're some fabric fold art god, then you can probably do whatever. But for the most part, for us peasants, it's going to be a mixture. Oh, and like always, if you guys have questions about how things are being constructed, please ask. I like adding seams to my clothing with either Dam Standard or another favorite is Slash, which is hidden under Lightbox, But the big thing is like, are you creating some sort of edge? Don't forget that there are seams and stitches. An experiment. Pick one that you like. I like this one. Very nice. We're gonna create some sort of like loose pocket, I think. Yeah. And then I so rarely have the top of my pants, like on my character, showing, but I'll go ahead and put a little edge there, just in case it ends up being visible later on. KW asks, if you want to go asymmetrical, do you wait until later in sculpting? That's a great question. Essentially, it depends on what the asset is. So if it is like a wind-blown cape, wind is quite asymmetrical. So because it's like intrinsic to what the shape needs to be, you want to add that asymmetry as soon as possible. Same with like, depending on what kind of monsters I'm creating, I'll break symmetry as soon as possible. But in this case, if I want to add like a vine on a shoe, I'll just add that at the end. Excellent question. And if you ever do fabric folds or any detail and it's a bit mumbly, you can go back over it manually, because there's nothing wrong with being like kind of careful in your fabric folds when you're starting, because you want to see like what's going to look good or not. That's fine. Just make sure you go back with some intention. Another thing that you can do is mask the area and go to like a contrast slider. You can kind of see like these are looking a little more intense now. There you go, like that. But the most important part, again, just intention. Did you want it to look like that? You should when you are creating anything, you should constantly be thinking, what do I want? Does that look the way that I want? Is that the shape that I want? And generally speaking, you want things to look interesting. You want things to look memorable, you know? You want things like shapes that are going to tell you more about the character. I really like these thin fabric folds because they paint really well, and I just like this kind of light gauzy fabric. I want some tighter fabric folds where this is really starting to bunch. So I'm gonna make my brush size smaller, the Z intensity higher. Again, just making the brush stronger. You could even just push harder on your tablet, that's also fine. This fabric fold at the bottom here reminds me so much of a flower petal. I really like it. And you'll notice, it's like, Mia, you haven't detailed like the back at all. I'm like, well, it's kind of like when I'm designing any character, every asset has a face, you know? Where are you looking? And it's definitely not gonna be the back of the pants, okay? It's gonna be the front of the pants. So I spend more time there. Hashtag, it has pockets. It sure does. If I can't have pockets even in my fantasy characters, what do I have? Anyone can have pockets if they're brave enough for cargo shorts. That is a price I am not willing to pay, but thank you. As a little kid, I think I had a pair of cargo shorts that I just loved. It's like a very hazy memory, but I'm pretty sure I did. All I know is that when I was in first grade, I wore overalls pretty much every single day because I was absolutely in love with them. They had a patch right on the chest of 101 Dalmatians. And it's actually what I wore for picture day because my parents forgot it was picture day. So it's me with a side pony right here. I need to find this picture. My overalls with my 101 Dalmatians patch and one, like, you know, missing teeth, of course, because it's first grade. Spock D is here. You're back. I am back. Hello, hello, and welcome back to you as well. It has been a hot minute, hasn't it? 2 weeks, to be exact. Alright, I like these pants. These are looking pretty pant-like. I don't like the side profile very much, so I'm going to lower the resolution and kind of push them around. Ideally, you will really kind of pick the shape early on and then detail. You want to move up the pyramid of hierarchy of detail, not down the pyramid. But I break the rules sometimes, so it's fine. And if that went over your head, you're like, she's talking about pyramids, I don't understand. All that means is you want the base shape to be accurate before you start adding little tiny fine details. That's all. Pyramid. Pyramid of shape. Spock says, what is the model? Sorry, just got here. Not a problem at all. Technically, there is no model. I'm actually making assets now instead of focusing on requests during my stream. That being said, I'm going to make assets you'll see in my model requests that release on Patreon, of course. But it's no longer my focus. The focus during my streams now is just making really pretty assets. And the way that I decide what assets those are going to be, it's mostly just what I think sounds like fun that day. All right, that's looking good. Let's start getting these sashes done. I'm going to delete one because it's like a cross back and forth, so I only need to create one. And then this little hanging section is going to be really, really easy to create. So let me go ahead and do that. First of all, it needs to exist because currently it is single plane. So I'm going to use dynamic thickness for that, but again, you could really use whatever. You can use edge loops, panel loops. I think there's even a group loops option. I like to make it kind of excessively thick, just for 3D printing reasons. I'm going to extrude an edge here. I like to put some sort of border. I think it makes it look a little nicer. And now I'll subdivide and then detail on top of that. Again, I like this kind of gauzy look here, but I don't want it to get too busy. So we're gonna just remove some material and add some material. Let me use my pinch brush. And pretty happy with that. Again, I'm not concerned about how weird and thick it is. If you really care, you can just grab like a masking brush and just cut off the back. That's also fine. I was gonna make some sort of weird joke about not skinny shaming your assets, and I was like, we're not gonna do that. Okay. Just Lingual says, Mia, what do I do if I want to send references? Do I not do that anymore? No, you absolutely can. In our Discord, we have under project references, the Taverb 2.0 grand opening. You are so welcome still to share ideas, share references. You're so welcome to do so. Yeah. Oh yeah, Wendelier, I remember you specifically were excited to have your request. I see you in the Discord. Have your request sculpted. I am going to be sculpting assets for your request, and you're going to know. I'm going to tell you, and you're going to see them still. Just to be clear, because I know you specifically were excited. Don't worry, you'll know. You're going to see like the image up here and be like, "Gee, that looks just like my character," and I'm like, "Yeah." Thank you, Taylor. I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I mentioned I'm also going to be streaming Marvelous Designer as well. And because nothing beats simulated fabric, let's be real. This is fun. I'm still going to do this. Ooh, that's ugly. Let's try that again. I did a Zeri mesh and it blew up. There we go. It's happy again. There we go. All right, that looks nice. KW says, surprising how much of this advice works for code architecture too. I love that. Absolutely it does. any comparisons. That's also why I like, again, I like focusing on the building blocks of what we're doing here. I think, because I want to get more, like, I really want people to be able to watch this and know that they can learn how to sculpt or design stuff as well. Because the philosophy and like what you're doing is the same. And I don't mean philosophy like, be creative, be nice to yourself. No, I mean like big shapes to little shapes, literally. I think people get really hung up on software types. Like, well, what do I need? What tools do I need? And some people, I think they just want to be able to buy a software that will make them talented, and that does not exist. But most people ask that question because they're just not sure what question to ask, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm creating this piece right here. We got kind of that shape going on, and now let's kind of refine it. If you really want to get technical and precise with your fabric folds, you're going to want to start using some masks because fabric folds do kind of overlap themselves. I kind of just get cheeky with it and I just remove and add material in a way that kind of gives me the same effect. And then I also have to pay some attention to the scale at which I am sculpting here, which does not come up as often as you think. So if you're super new here, I sculpt for minis, which are this big. So if you're like, wow, that belt's gonna be this big, it is. But you know what? Some people print my stuff big, me included, and I want it to look good. So I do what I want. That being said, I know that it's most important that my first two building blocks of shapes, right? So the main shape here is just this loop, and the secondary shapes would be like this fabric fold right here, for example. So I'm not gonna worry about like the tiny textile feel of it. What would be equivalent to like skin pores on our skin? I'm not gonna worry about details like that. I missed streaming so much. This was great. And thank you guys for the big welcome back. This has just been awesome. I expected it to be a quiet stream, and I love having quiet streams too. But I also appreciate when there's almost 20 people here. My goodness. And another, again, a huge shout out to all of my students, because you guys are what made this possible, and the redesign became clear to me because of you. I really hope some of my students look at these assets up close and they're like, damn, this is kind of messy. And I'd be like, yes, just get something sculpted. You can refine it later. It doesn't need to be perfect. It's so important. I didn't share my assets for a long time because I just didn't understand what you guys would get out of it. And then I had a long chat with my husband about it. And there is something about seeing something in your viewport that you can kind of mess with that can be very eye-opening. There we go. KW says, I'm running a Viking Wolf Warrior with paint as we speak. Ruining, not running. I'm sure it's coming out fine. Oh my goodness. Taylor says, Mia, oh hey, marvelous. I'm learning Clo 3D. It's twin sister software. Heck yeah. Soapfire says, recently I've been trying to break down art techniques. I've noticed a lot of it seems to be the illusion of the shape, not obsessively recreating the item. Yes, and a really, really good example to dive into that even further is hair. Obviously, real hair is a bunch of little strands. So many little strands. You would go insane. if you did that, if you sculpted like that. Ask Aloha. So instead, you want to instead be like, what's a hair like chunk? So here is like a chunk. That's gonna be the piece. Look like a section of hair. There we go, piece. And that would be like one curve brush that you can like taper or that kind of thing. And then you can add some fine details to it, but you're not actually assembling hundreds of thousands of little strands of hair. Can you imagine? Oh my goodness, go insane. This looks like there's so much more fabric than what I have. I want more fabric. So what am I gonna do? Well, something I wanna do first is just make this a little easier for me to work with. So I'm going to use and keep poly paint. I'm just reducing the poly count because like each one of these has like 400,000 points, but once I move it around and get the shape, I'm not so attached to it anymore. I used to harp a lot on making your shapes like the creation process as clean as possible so you have like these assets that are really desirable and easy to work with. I've kind of walked back on that. They don't need to be that clean. They really don't. You can reconstruct subdivision levels whenever. Don't worry about it. The more I try to sculpt stuff clean and correct, the less I get done. That's been very humbling for me, let me tell you. The biggest slice of humble pie. I did not like it. It was not good. You really just want to look at the shape. So when you were first learning how to sculpt, and I know we have a lot of 3D artists in the chat, they'll relate to this. When you first start, you don't make new subtools, right? Everything is, so if you're like, what the fuck is a subtool? I'm gonna make this talk in a language that's understandable to 3D artists, and people are just hanging out in the Taverb. So essentially, like when you sculpt, it's just like a lump of clay. Imagine you just had one lump of clay and you tried to sculpt an entire character out of it, like chiseling out of marble. Like, isn't that so crazy impressive? That's really not how us 3D artists approach things. It's more like we have a lump of clay and that'll be the body. And then we'll take a new lump of clay and make a shirt out of it. And then we'll dress up our body with that. So in the beginning though, we act more like that it's that piece of marble and we chisel away out of it. And then we move away from that and get better tools. But there comes a point where you go full circle, and I have hit that point when it comes to hard surface work. I'm starting to learn how to sculpt like mechs and stuff, and damn it, it's back to the beginning. It's so weird. It's like taking one piece and like sculpting stuff onto the same piece, and then like you'll clean it up later. But it's so odd to me. The point of that little spiel is just, it's all about the shape. It really is. Did you make a nice shape? Good job. You didn't make a nice shape? But then what was the point? So right now I'm looking at kind of like this extra drapery here. And I'm like, I want that shape. So how am I gonna do that? I tapered this a little bit. There we go. I'm telling you, this new era of the Taverb, it's gonna get real Bob Ross-esque very quick, because it's just, you make happy little shapes. And then suddenly you have this beautiful model that comes together. And there's really just no other way to do it. I think the problem is that when you obsess over making everything, when you obsess over making your process beautiful, it feels like you're being productive, but you're not. Very tricky. That's something I'm still learning too. I'm like, surely if my process is beautiful, then my resulting art would be beautiful. It's just not the case. You're probably just being slow for the sake of being slow. Is it going to be spicy, Taverb? Aloha can confirm. Am insane. It's true. All right, we have this really beautiful belt thing. Anything that has subdivision levels, I'm going to leave alone so I can reconstruct and do new things out of it. Anything that I kind of just decimated down, I'm going to merge into one piece. So my students here, I'm going to share this with you at the end. And just know that. That's the way that I constructed this belt. So it's going to be really beneficial for you to see how some pieces are broken down or some are not. So we're going to call this hanging strap. No, we'll call this a hanging belt. And then this main piece here will be master belt? Main belt. There we go. And I'll call this kit bashing belt. There we go. So we got these 3 different components. And what's really cool is this section right here is what I use to create everything else. So this piece made all of those pieces. And then this has a subdivision level. So if I hold Shift D, you can see it gets lower res. You can see the topology here. And then it gets really high res. Look at that. You guys see, this is so embarrassing. The key casting, you guys get to see how much I overclick. Yeah. I didn't want you guys to know this. I did not need to click D. What is that, like 9 times? I don't know. You guys are also going to see that every time I go grab the gizmo, I click Q first. It's this horrible muscle memory that I have embedded and I cannot undo it now. Yeah. Anyway. Dr. Wildfire says, the Taverb is always spicy. Aloha is here. This is true. This is true. Aloha is being very well behaved. Hello, I'm chillin'. Sad face. The peasants, they know you. Sorry, Aloha. All right. We have our belts, our pants. I'm gonna delete the male body because we're just not going to need it. I'll call this female base. Shut up, Reaper. Oh my gosh. All right, and then I do want to add the vine details. I'm not sure how I want to do that because it kind of like floats on the body. I love this like vine collection thing. We're gonna make that. Let's make that. I'm going to insert a plane, and this is gonna be the base for this vine clump we're gonna make, and it's gonna be gorgeous. We're gonna make this a dark color so I can actually see what the heck I'm doing. What color is not green? Purple. That's saturated and hard to look at. There we go. Contrast. Oh my goodness. KW says, when I remote into my work machine, every Control-C copy gets hit about 8 times. No, Aloha, shut up. Just Single says, Mia, what is your typing speed? I like to imagine it's high for no reason. Oh yeah, I tested this like last week. I can't remember why I wanted to know. I can't remember what it was exactly. It was over 100. Over 100. Very impressive. Anyway, yeah, it's fast for no reason. Okay, so to make this thing, we're going to make a grass clump. So I want you guys, like, whether you're an artist or not, I want you guys to think about this. I'm gonna make this really large. We're gonna design together. All right. See like this clump here, this clump thing, the vine and flowers. How would you create that? Whether, if you're drawing, cool. This is more of a 3D application, but for this exercise, think however you want. I'm gonna just wait a second. I'm gonna take a water break. I'm gonna sip my water. You can think about how you would construct that. What brushes would you use? What subtools would you use? That kind of thing. Do a typing test on stream. Girl, the way that my typing speed would be like 20 if I did that, I would just absolutely panic. I appreciate that. Like, okay, do it. No. Also, if you guys missed the beginning of the stream, you have to see my outrageous Bucky's cup that I got. It barely even fits in the camera frame. My God. I mean, I guess I could just move farther back. That is how perspective works. I'm now going to use that example and talk about perspective. If you don't understand perspective in ZBrush, that's all it means. It means when things get closer to the camera, they get bigger. And when they get farther away, they get smaller. So if you turn off perspective, that means it's just the same size regardless. So when I turn on perspective, her shoes will get bigger because they're closer to you. See? Yeah. Yeah. Wow, this key binding thing is embarrassing me. Okay. I'll do it if you do it. No. Anyway, thinking over. Here's how we make this. If your answer was we make one leaf and individually place the leaves in one flower and individually construct the petals to make a flower, you're wrong. I mean, art is whatever you want it to be, but no, you're wrong. I'm gonna show you how to do it. You're gonna make a blob. The answer was, what shape is it? And it looks like this shape. It's kind of like this little triangle thing. So I'm gonna take a sphere, I'm gonna Dynamesh it, and no, it does not have to be a sphere. I have students that really want art to be like this cookbook, and it's just not. I'm sorry. You can start with a sphere, you can start with a cube, you can start with a diamond. I really don't care. You're just gonna destroy it and make new shapes anyway. You might find that you like starting with certain shapes more than others. Doesn't mean it's gonna work for everybody. You really have to find the answer within yourself. And I love when people are like, well, what does industry want? I'm like, industry doesn't know what industry wants, okay? So don't worry about that. If you have a good workflow and if it's fast and you enjoy it and you get stuff done, you win. And if you want to be a hobbyist, even better, you can just win by liking it. You don't even have to be fast or efficient or good. This is my job, so it needs to be all of those things. Okay, we have a blob. The next thing we're gonna do is add like leaves and flowers and vines. I'm gonna start with flowers because they're the next most important part. I really want you looking at the flowers, not so much everything else. Yes, the art is the flower, the technique is how you create it. Yes. Reaper says, as a person who struggles talking through an interview, I get that so much. Yeah, I know, I feel like, I would say Casey said, I've given interviews where we do code portions. However hard you think basic computer input is, it's a million times harder as soon as a shred of anxiety is involved. Yeah, I feel that. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like I do find in interviews, I guess this isn't really relevant to me anymore, but I do find, but yeah, I do find. That's the best I can say. Even when I do like well in interviews though, I can't help but come away from it and be like, wow, that person seemed hireable, but she wasn't me. It's not even imposter syndrome. It just feels so fake. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's a few times, like, I've told you this story before, so regulars will know this, but whenever they ask you in interviews of like, oh, what's your biggest weakness? I'm like, honest during this interview. And I looked them square in the face and was like, I said, I do not play well with others. And they busted up laughing. And I was like, I was serious. And they didn't laugh as much. But I was like, no, I'm serious. Like, I would rather you give me one project and make me do it all by myself than make me like hold hands with 6 other people to do the same thing. It's like assembling a jigsaw puzzle where you all have to like grab the same piece at a time. Those are the kind of projects I've worked on. I have a mechanical engineering background, so like I want each of us to make our own piece, fuck off, then come back together, and then it works in assembly. We have to like, you know, revise, play off each other, that's fine. But we don't actually do the same button clicks together, you know what I mean? Anyway, trying to explain that in an interview did not go well. I did not get the job. No, just kidding. I mean, I didn't, but I also didn't follow up on it. They were like, cool. I did 2 interviews, and for the 3rd one, they were like, reach out to this person to get your next date or whatever. And I was like, no. All right, we're adding flower beds because that's the most important. Generally speaking, I like to have larger shapes at the top and then make them smaller as they go. It just, please, like when you're doing stuff like this, don't pick one size flower and then do this. You're gonna make your stuff look so boring. See how this doesn't look like art? I mean, it does, sure it does, but it looks so stiff. Don't do that. When you're making something that looks organic, you have to be kind of, you know, inconsistent with your shapes. You can be artistic in the direction of how you do that, of course. I really can't decide what kind of flower I want here. I feel like that just isn't detailed enough. We're gonna do a rose, maybe? No, we'll do this one. That's fine. It's fine. All right. So I'm gonna large one here, kind of create a cluster. I like having like even and odd, so I have an odd cluster here, and then I'll do an even. An odd? Even? I kind of just do it that way. There we go. That looks more interesting. Biggest weakness? Fire, probably. That's a good answer. Oh man, that's good. Amazing. KW says, oh, we have a Jira board for that. It's the official we'll work together apart on these things tool. I would love that. Dr. Wildfire says, interviews are terrifying no matter how long you've been a professional. That's fair. That is fair. Just Lingual said, I love interviews, but after 50 rejections, I suddenly look more nervous at the beginning, so I had to do a Faye interview with a friend so I could take a moment to fix my face. I know you meant fake interview, but Faye is really funny because, like, you know, Faye, tricksters and stuff, that's adorable. I love that. I kept the typo because it was fun. Amazing. All right, we're making this cluster thing. I need to make leaves, apparently. We're gonna do vines first. That did not go the way I wanted it to. Oh, I should have done vines, then flowers, then leaves. Doesn't matter. We have a vine. I'm going to Dynamesh it. I like Dynameshing in a low resolution for organics especially, because see how it made it like less uniform and more lumpy? You want that. Whenever it's not touching a flower, I make it a little bit skinnier. Here we go. And now we're gonna kind of scribble over here. Scribble. God, KW, the way I thought you were like a bot comment. I'm so sorry. I'm still thinking about that. I don't know. I glanced over and saw like the 1 out of 5 stars and I was like, am I being trolled by a bot right now? No. And you've been great. You're great. Hi. Also, I recognize that. KW, you're on Patreon. Anyway, hey. I'm just a little rusty. It's been a long time since there's been a stream. And if you're doing this exercise and you get to this point, you're like, wow, this doesn't look like a forest vine clump at all. You have to make it a hard rule for yourself that you cannot judge what you're working on when you're literally working on it. It's the equivalent of walking up to a little kid that's doing literally really anything and being like, that sucks. You have to be a little nicer to yourself. Something that's really tricky with art that I didn't find to be an issue with STEM, and by STEM I just mean anything, I don't know, science or math. Creatively, the consequences are higher when you're stressed in like the way you lock up. To be clear, it's very difficult to get any work done when you're stressed, but I did much better in engineering stressed than I have in art when I am stressed. It's like I can't make a single creative decision when I am stressed out. So you especially have to take care of yourself. Boo, I know. If you're a jerk to yourself in the creative process, you really gotta fix that. It's not negotiable. All right, we got some vines. KW said, I thought it was funny. Is not null. Are you joking? Because I have another person on Patreon that's also KW. Like okay, whatever. Cool. I know who you are. Hello. I haven't been called a bot in a while. If I'm a jerk to you unintentionally on the stream, it just means that you're fitting in well. I don't want to prompt the peasants to share their stories, but everyone in the chat has had at least one moment like this. I don't know if Rudy's still here, but Rudy has one of my favorite stories of me being mean to him for like no reason. It was so uncalled for. There we go, just lingual. Click here for instant prize of art, money, quality, free shipping. Oh gosh. Oh, there we go. Faye interview is to make sure I don't accidentally make binding deals or give away my name. I love that. I guess that means Blaze was the love of her life. Okay, listen, I checked all my students recently and Mini Blaze is still a student and I felt bad because I haven't given her any new assignments because I think she's just busy right now. If for some reason she's like watching or lurking this future stream, We make lots of jokes, obviously. You're welcome here. Hello, I hope you're doing well. There we go, Broody. Leave me alone, I'm eating glue right now. Yep, that was the roast. I don't know why I said that to you still. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna make this shape here kind of bubbly. I don't want it to look like, what's the word? The typophoria pustule. I don't want it to look gross. I just want it to look organic. So I'm gonna come through with my inflate brush. You can use any material adding brush, which, spoiler alert, is almost all of them, just to make it kind of lumpy, because it will make this look better. There we go. See, I told you to make it look better. And then I'll use my move brush to kind of scoot it back. We're gonna subdivide a few times, grab my layer brush, change the alpha to something, I don't know, organic looking, something dot-like. And then we're gonna kind of just use that to add some variation here. I don't need this plane here anymore, but we're keeping it. All right, and then this is the fun part. This is where we put way too many leaves on it. I'm gonna delete the lower subdiv, decimate this down. Nerd says, I'm inspired and now I need to sculpt. That's exactly what I want to hear. I also have to head out. Don't want to hear that, but that's a-okay. Thanks for being here. Oh, it makes me so happy. Oh my god, Streamlabs is still here. Streamlabs, keep the hearth. Streamlabs, you're not even a moderator on my channel. Who let you in? How long has Streamlabs been here, the bot, and nobody told me? I can add Streamlabs as a moderator, which is confusing because they already shouldn't be a moderator. Okay, I don't know who let Streamlabs back in, but I'll deal with that after the stream. We're gonna make some leaves. Paint, if you're still here, this is very similar to how you make feathers, which you did a really good job with anyway, but you're kind of asking like how detailed to make it, that kind of thing. I'm gonna use my damn standard brush. And that came out really lumpy, that line. I'm actually gonna keep it. Yeah, if you zoom in, my leaves and my feathers are pretty much the same thing. Fun fact. I'm going to make sure the peaks and valleys on this thing are really extreme. I use the contrast brush for that, or brush slider, but you could have also just sculpted it better in the first place. That will also give you the same effect. Yeah. Oh my god, all the commands still work. Me, I forgot to get rid of it. No, I didn't. I didn't. It's gone. It's for sure gone. I don't know what is happening. Okay. Well. Need. Okay. Not important. Never mind that. All right, we're gonna mirror and weld across the Z-axis. Nope, that's the opposite I wanted. Just so it's the same shape. I'm gonna unify this first though, because I don't want any weird super skinny topology happening. Wow, that's the opposite of what I wanted. I'm just kind of scooting it around until it's in the right position of the scene. It's really not a fancy technique. It's just a good enough technique. All right, we have a leaf. What we're gonna do is make a cluster of 3. 1, 2, and then we'll make the third one right here. Kind of add some verticality to this design. We're also going to resize this a little bit, just so it's not so obviously the exact same leaf 5 times, 3 times, I can count. All right, let's make this small. So why did I make a cluster of 3? I did a cluster of 3 because that's going to be the absolute maximum number of leaves you're going to see. So what I'll do is I'll just do it once. I'm going to put this thing everywhere, and then I'm going to delete some of them randomly. So it's kind of saving me some time. I'm so mad you guys are interacting with Streamlabs bot. Stop it. Stop. No. Streamlabs is not here. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. KW says, have you ever desired to buy a 3D scanner so that you can rough out something with actual clay once in a while when you're feeling cheeky? I haven't actually. Mostly because I am really, really cheap. I don't like spending money. That's it. That's it. That sounds like fun. Oh my God. Now it's just the fact that the Streamlabs bot is even like a dark gray or light gray. Ugh, ridiculous. Stop hating my sesh bot. He does a good job. He does his job. He gets paid nothing and he likes it. All right. I could use array mesh or some other fancy thing to achieve what I'm about to do right now, but we're not doing that. No real reason. I'm just not doing that. All right, I made a clump of 3, and then we're gonna duplicate this 3 a bunch of times. See? So now it is leaf textured. I can use my contrast slider again if I'd like. I might as well, just a little bit. And then here's another fun thing I can do is get in there. I use my move topological to kind of scoot some stuff around. And so that way I didn't have to like get really bogged down in placing individual leaves or whatever. I literally could just like drop a bunch of leaves on this, call it good. And now this is where the artistry comes in, where I kind of pick how should these shapes actually lay. The ones over here are being a bit silly because I need to move them so far. So I'm going to change the polygroups by clicking auto groups, just one button. And now I can do Command Shift click on these and rotate them. And that's just because you have a limit to how far you can move things with move topological before they're not recognizable anymore. Another cool thing I can do is hide any leaves that I don't think are, you know, making this look very nice. But there you go. That's how you make your very, very 3D printable leaf chunk thing. You'll notice that as I keep moving around these leaves, it's looking quite pretty. I've enjoyed this stream so much. It's really not taking nearly as much out of me as they used to, which, again, streaming's work. I got no problem with that. But they're making me a little stressy. Not depressy, just stressy. I'm using an alpha to texture these vines so they look like something instead of just like little noodles. There. Scratchy noodles. Wow, you guys are going nuts with this. Do we really need the Streamlabs bot? Is this a necessity? No. You know what? I asked you that question. I don't care. You're not getting it. Enjoy it. Dr. Wildfire says, Mia's making such pretty leaves, and I'm drawing black lines. No, you're doing more than that. I saw the update of what you did. I thought it was gorgeous. Of the stained glass. Couldn't think of what stained glass was called. I was like, light bulb. I'm like, not even close. Oh, that's very true. That's a very good point. I saw I had secret mod chat stuff, and I was like, yeah, just make sure you don't like log in, show your password on the screen capture thing. Very true. I should already be logged in, but that's big brain. And yes, Reaper, you'll get access to the student art channel as well. You can do whatever you want with it. I don't even care. I don't think you're gonna have to moderate very much because they can't send messages there. But yeah. I don't want to work on this leaf blob thing anymore, so I'm not going to. It can be that simple. Hey Casey, hello, hello. So pumped. My first request is the shield made it, and that is in the work in progress list now. That model is going to be so freaking cool. So there's a few requests that I have where the inspiration art is going to make it to these streams still, and I'm pretty much just going to make your model on stream still. even though I've restructured, because it's just so cool. I'm not going to spoil it for everyone else unless you want to talk about your really cool model request, Casey, but it's pretty freaking cool. All right, add some lighting here. My favorite thing to do is to color pick, make the whole thing a bit darker than it was, and then go back to that original color and kind of add that natural highlight. Anyway, we have our leaf blob now. And that is what I'm going to call it. Flower, leaf blob. There we go. And that's gonna be a pretty easy one to decorate. It's just gonna kind of get pinned back here. And what's really cool, so why do I have the actual blob underneath it? This thing. Well, one, it was nice to kind of map out the shape. Two, for 3D printing, I can just kind of scoot this in here, and what you're actually just gonna see is the leaf border and the flower border. It's gonna look very beautiful and organic. But there's gonna be some gaps, and now I don't have to worry about them because there's a blob there. So it's gonna be solid and very 3D printable and no problem. In other words, it just makes it more structurally sound for 3D printing. There we go. All right, let's keep on going. I would like to see how much use I can get out of this little blob thing. We're gonna mirror it, and let's see if I can kind of stick it onto her hip. I'm gonna use the move brush, and I really don't mind if there's any clipping issues or anything like that. I just kind of want it to be interesting to look at. That's its only job. Spoiler alert to all my 3D artist students. That's really the main job for really anything you create. Its only job is to look interesting. If you're like, but it's not accurate. Unless you're making a museum piece, give yourself a break. Something else I can do here is grab my mask lasso brush and kind of just cut a section off and then close holes. And that will kind of give me some more variety here. You're still going to see a lot of the Mia production techniques that you've all come to know and love. But you're gonna see it in a way that definitely allows me to be a lot more, focusing on the artistry of it instead of just like, I am a machine, I produce as much as I can. I don't want to make fun of that robot side of me too much because I love that side of me. It's very built into like who I am and the way that I think. But I can also be an artist. Crazy, I know, stick with me here. All right, let's get these sleeves decorated. Oh my God, you guys are still, I feel like you're just interacting with the Streamlabs bot just to be spiteful. Unless you really enjoy this. We'll see. Me trying to like give the peasants an option, and then I'm like, I don't know if I want to give you that option. I'll let my mods decide. I know Sater's thoughts on it. I know Sater was like, it's kind of nice that we don't have to deal with that. And I'm like, I agree. And then apparently Streamlabs bot is still here. So for the sleeves, it's really important that you can just do close holes and then just like punch a dent in it later. I usually like using dynamic instead. So that's what I'm gonna do. There we go. Extrude polyloop. I know if you guys don't have the Streamlab bot and like pulling and nonsense, you guys are gonna have to like actually talk to each other and hang out. Oh no, can't have that. Just Lingual says, it's more fun now that it's not an option. That's what I thought. At least the Streamlabs bot pays attention to us. I have done plenty of talking at you guys. What do you need, Rudy? I like asking you that so then I can just say no. It's like my favorite word. The only thing I don't like about this slash brush is that it requires really high poly count to look good. I don't love that. I like everything else though. I still haven't decided what's going to make these assets the most usable, like reusable, because the way that I have them right now, they have subdivision levels. And that's not really how I built my other asset library. We'll see. This might be the era of just brand new asset library. We'll see. All right, important tip. This is kind of counterintuitive. You want to add filigree, complicated details that are like embossed before fabric folds. Trust me on this. Fabric folds in this case are not going to fit in the normal hierarchy because look, watch, if I like add a bunch of fabric folds right here and then I decide I want to add like this design on top of it, that's going to be a huge pain in the ass. You want the design to be manipulated by the fabric fold, not the other way around. Hey Max, welcome in. Welcome in. Oh my goodness. Emperor says, sorry I was super distracted. I love the outfit you're making. I found quite a few of my adventures I want to tackle. Oh, good, good, good. KW says, I like to contrast the quote, a poor craftsman blames their tools, with all the cursing that fits any area of craftsmanship. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, a poor craftsman does blame their tools. Same way that a poor horseman blames their horse. Interesting. I think shitty people just blame things. That might just be the sentiment there, but still, I agree with that immensely. So I have these really gorgeous trim brushes I want to get more use out of. I can't remember what they're called right now. I thought it was Deck. No, it might be Orn. Yes. There it is. And there are the pictures. You know, I might be able to just draw this pattern myself though. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I want you guys to see how easy that can be. I think it's normal to get really intimidated by drawing your own patterns and stuff and like, oh, I'm not a good 2D artist. I'm like, you don't have to be. All right, the first thing I'm gonna do is turn off my tablet so there's no pressure sensitivity. So when I draw a line, it just looks solid as opposed to this. You can see it's kind of tapering, whether I push hard or push not. So I'm gonna disable that. You don't have to do that. It just makes my life easier. Max says, loving the new overlay also. Yay, I'm so glad. Also, I don't know if you saw already, but I have want these files. Students get them on Discord. So everything I made today on stream, Max, you will also have access to do whatever you want with. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm so glad you guys like it. I figured you would, but you know, it's new things are still nervous. New things are nervous. New things make me nervous. There we go. All right, so we're gonna do some nonsense filigree. When you are doing decorative details, you don't need to know as much as you think you do. I promise. You need to know direction, so you know what direction to taper, and how dense you want it to be. That's it. If you're like, I don't believe you, okay, then just watch. I want them to go in this direction, so that means when I go up here, it's like a triangle that's gonna taper up. That's my direction. How dense do I want it to be? probably no smaller than that. That's my absolute smallest. So that's the brush size that I'm going to use. I'll go a little bit bigger then. Okay, now we do decorative nonsense. You'll see I'll do it a few times. I'm gonna enable lazy radius to kind of help my natural shape to my hand. There we go. Okay, that's it. It's done. I'm just kidding. All right. That's the direction it's gonna taper, so I inverted the mask and I kind of put a little edge on that, like that. There you go. And now I think it's gonna be kind of like classic filigree shape. You just do like little leaf doodads. Generally speaking, in threes, I find odd numbers are just the way to go. I'm just going up and down, and then a little dot. Up, down, up, down. Then I make my brush even smaller. I'm gonna break the rule I made earlier because I miscalculated. What's new? And then maybe I'll do like a dot. There we go. Sweet. And then from here, I'm gonna do another shape that's gonna kind of come off of this, and we're gonna continue this pattern. It's really important that once we establish the direction, then after that, you follow the rules that you made. So anything that moves up this design needs to get skinnier. So I will invert the mask and make it skinnier on top. See? And then you can add more dots because filigree is dots. So not joking, it could be that simple. And you can do another line here. So the thing with filigree is you can have references or you can just kind of make it up. You're gonna be surprised that this is gonna look good regardless. If you really wanna be more efficient with it, what you can do is, instead of doing this on a sleeve or something, you can do it on like a flat plane, and then you can actually make it a brush or a stamp. I'm not doing that because I forgot I could do that. That's the only reason why I didn't do that. I'm gonna do a little line. Again, remember the direction. If it doesn't taper, you've broken your rule. And there you go. The first thing I'm gonna do is change the color. I'm actually gonna polygroup it too. So I'm gonna invert the mask and then Command W. So now it's a polygroup. So if you're like, oh no, it's gone. No, it's not gone. It's right here. Come here. What are you doing? Command Shift click. There. I was like, make me worried. All right. And now we can poly paint that. If it's jagged, that's just because of the way that it masked. Oh, are you gonna be dumb? I could have been higher resolution, so it's being a little silly with me. This is gonna be interesting. When you have multiple subdivision levels, like different resolution, when you paint a mask, the information's stored on the lowest level. So you might get that jagged edge. So if you want to polygroup it, you can. I'm not going to because it's causing problems. All right, I'm gonna choose green as my color. I think that's really nice. And then I'm also going to inflate it so that way it's actually 3D printable. So all I did was grab W for my gizmo, click on this little icon thing, and then Control and drag, and bam. Now it's an embossed little thingy. So now if I go over this with my standard brush to create some fabric folds, it's gonna distort the design in a way that's consistent. Can you imagine me trying to do this filigree after the fact? That would suck. Trying to decide how I want these fabric folds to be. Obviously I wanna be careful because I don't wanna like screw up the design too much. So what I'll do is I'll lower the Z intensity. There. Oh, and turn on my tablet. I was like, why is everything so harsh? I do want my pressure sensitivity back. There we go. Interestingly, it would seem that these are not symmetrical pieces, but I will handle that problem later. Is that just my lighting? I'm not sure. But anyway, filigree does not have to be scary. I was talking through it, so it seemed even slower. Let me go ahead and do it again really quick, and you'll be like, oh, cool, I can do filigree. East? I thought you said west. And first says, by the way, I vaguely heard What are the new stream focuses? I have no more request modeling on stream. What are student reviews and such? Yes, I will still be reviewing student work, and especially if I can segue them into like how to make an asset, because I have students that don't know how to make things all the time. That's why they're paying me money to learn. So how much more valuable would it be if I could literally just be like, cool, I'm gonna just do a full freaking hour, 2-hour long demo. That's your feedback. Yeah, new streams are all about students. Which originally kind of felt like a business move, but honestly, I spent so long in the last 2 weeks just figuring out what I wanted streams to be about, because the idea of not streaming made me so sad. Like, it was making me tired, but that doesn't mean I don't want to do it at all, you know? So it was kind of a tricky thing, and that's what seemed to make me the most excited to stream again and the happiest. The fact that it benefits you guys is great, but it's definitely a happy coincidence. There we go. KW says, do you just have to feel out how much embossed depth is necessary for printing reasons? Yeah, it's the making 1,000 model things. That definitely gave me the feel for it. Obviously, that doesn't work for my students. Can you guys imagine that every time I had someone ask a question, I was like, make 1,000 models first? Yeah, no. What I do is, I just told Paint this. I'm like, grab a mini that you have, because I know you guys play D&D. Zoom out your canvas so that when you hold your mini to the screen, it's the same size. And then you kind of have an idea of like, can you still see that detail? Also, just look at your mini and be like, what is visible? I can see the eyes, I can see the nostrils, I can see the buttons on her coat. So that gives me an idea of what kind of details I can add and how chunky they need to be. Nothing beats just making the model with intention and then reviewing how successful your intention was when printed. And the next time you'll think, okay, I'll make that a little bit thicker or that kind of thing. And that's the beauty of 3D files. You can just edit your file and then just print it again. Oh, my camera is missing the fire and our fake candles with our fake fire. I'm so glad you guys like the new overlay. I am so proud of it. Empress says, I've been watching your older streams going all the way back to slightly before the Deadly Sin series. No kidding. Wow. It's been so fun, inspiring. Oh, I'm glad. If you have any like interesting notes to give about that, like then versus now, I'd love to know. Even if it was like, this used to be better now, but now this is better. Like, I like that too. I like it. Paint says, I will note, this tip really helps, but I'm an asshole to myself because I'm a miniature painter as well. Yeah, that is tricky. This is so freaking pretty. Okay. Time to design a little more of this shirt. And then I'm going to add a flower in the center here because I think it complements the design better. One thing that I like in this color palette that I don't quite have is the gold accents, so I'm gonna think about that. I love the new stream overlay and I'm super proud of it. One of the things I'm open to is the key kept mapping thing. Like, I feel like it might be helpful, but I don't know. If anyone has very strong feelings on why it shouldn't be there, you can let me know. I'm gonna keep the key mapping thing for the teaching section, no matter what, but just for like, this is the main part of the stream. I wouldn't mind if you guys were like, I can't deal with it. I think it's a good thing. But I also cannot watch my streams and streams. I know. Here we go. So we're going to change the shape of this shirt to be a bit more flattering, a bit more interesting. There we go. The like boob suction cup thing we had going on was weird. I notice it's really common with my students as well. Just check your clothes and think like, is this suction cup to the model, and adjust it from there. Mete monkey, where's my banana mug? I know, we're mugless now. I just have the acknowledgements on our loading screens now. Where's my banana mug? You were not wrong. Trash Taverb. Cancelled. We all knew this day would come where Monkey would break the Taverb. It's happening. Okay, at what point is this so mad at that? Okay, then I can just, that's fine. All right, I'm making this as chunky as possible, like I always do. Now we're gonna add a little bit of trim. This is not actually visible, but again, even though all these assets complement each other and look good together, it's not really the point. I'm spending a lot of care on each individual piece. The fact that they happen to look good together in this outfit's fine. But again, these are designed so that they will work with all kinds of pieces. Okay, Monkey said, no, not canceling. I just have to unleash full chaos monkey. All right, mods. Sounds good. I see Lois was like, I need to sleep. No problem. Thanks for being here. I think Reaper can handle monkey. I think. Something interesting about this shirt is it has like this weird center pleat, partly because it's just confused AI inspiration, but also kind of a cool thing. Almost reminds me of a cravat of some sort. There we go. My students are gonna get these assets and be like, why are they so high poly? You've been lying to us, Mia. It's just because I'm using the slash brush. Usually it's not like this. That or I've just been lying this whole time. Whatever you want to believe, honestly. I like this layered bit of fabric I put right here. It kind of reminds me of leaves. Breaking symmetry for this point right here. Don't like it as much with the other lines. So I'll just do that. Don't be afraid to add stuff and take it away. You don't have to be married to every single brush stroke that you make. In fact, that usually is what causes a lot of stress with my students, is they feel like every brush stroke they make needs to be perfection. It really, really does not need to be. And it won't be, so you should get over that sooner than later. I really expected more technical difficulties during this stream. Just like anytime you do anything new, you know, it's pretty common that something's not going to work. But this was just really smooth sailing. Only funny thing is I didn't end up taking a break. I usually take a break. But this wasn't that long of a stream. If it's only a 2-hour stream, like I'm not gonna need to take a break. It has been so much fun to spend 2 hours on a single character. And by character, I mean just like outfit. I don't know. Just knowing that I didn't actually have to work on any of this if I didn't want to. It was really, really freeing and really fun. Dr. Wildfire says, I finished the final drawing in my series of 6 stained glass windows. Oh, I have to go take a look at that. I bet it's going to show your art. Oh, heck yeah. These are so cool. I recognize some of these things. Very cool. Yeah, it's still my favorite thing from you so far. I don't know, I just think it suits you. I'm really excited to let my students get their hands on these assets. And just have fun with them. I'm gonna share everything I made today, even stuff that's barely finished. Marathon stream win. I know, it's like tries to make a sustainable stream. Burns out, crashes immediately. Again, I called it burnout because that made sense, or I was just feeling a little tired or whatever, but it wasn't quite burnout. Does that make sense, y'all? I just really needed like a refresh and kind of a reminder of like, what the heck am I doing? What is the goal of streaming? Because I never intended for it to be like my job. And now that I have defined it as such, it's honestly made my life much, much, much simpler. Oh, ZBrush crashed. Sad. I was starting to boogie too. Oh yeah, that's my wallpaper. I feel like it looks extra fancy in this specific stream setup. The stream is coming to a close. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and being here with me. It's just been awesome. It really has. I think today was a huge success. This is our inspiration and this is what we made, and I think it's gorgeous. I am open to stream ideas, so if you guys have a piece that you saw on Pinterest that you feel really excited about, you're welcome to share it with me. And if I'm also excited, I'll do it too. Monkey said, what is the goal? I didn't hear that answer earlier if you said it. The goal for the streams? Essentially just to make really cool assets that if they benefit future models, great, but that's not what I'm mostly concerned about. I'm mostly just concerned about hanging out and teaching. So I would say for streaming, teaching has become what's happening here? Has become the focus. Because that's definitely who benefits from the streams the most, so it made sense to me to kind of just push that to the max. Rudy says, this has been lots of fun. Everything from the new layout to new model and taking part in the chat was awesome. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you were here today too. That was, I want to say auspicious, but I actually don't really know what that word means. It's one of those things like I can use it in a sentence, and then I was like, I might need to look that one up. Anyway, it was nice to have you here. We even had John pop in before I took my streaming break a couple times. I bevel this inside. Ooh, it kind of did a funny thing with it, but that works. I just want to get this cloak a little more detailed because like these fabric folds I was really excited about, and then I realized like, oh no, I kind of ran out of time on the stream. so we'll get some really like nice pipe folds in here. This is really two different cloaks that kind of come together and are stitched. Very interesting. Wendelier says, auspicious meaning a good omen, I believe. That is how I used the word, so I'm hoping that is the case. I was just realizing, I'm like, I don't know what that word means. I'm not certain. Auspicious means conducive to success. Oh, okay. Then yeah. Same. Not different. So yeah, the cape didn't get a ton of love this time, but that's kind of the beauty of these streams. I can kind of like take another stab and do, you know, be a little more focused on this next time. Usually I'd have to be like, okay, the model just needs to be done, and that's that. But in this case, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get some sort of shape on here because it's really easy for me to do, just so my students have something fun to play with. But I don't feel pressure to make it like this super special finished thing, which is honestly a relief. The point, you know, of making these assets is ultimately for me to reuse them in different model requests and whatnot. But I'm very interested in like what kind of aha moments it's going to bring for my students, and I bet you it's going to make some stuff click that you weren't quite sure about before, and then you're going to see it and be like, oh, okay. Because you can like sculpt on top of it, and I hope it gives you guys permission to just experiment a bit more. Because like if you're not downloading these Z tools, the ZPRs I'm going to share with you guys, and just like destroying this file, you're doing it wrong. Just mess it up. Doesn't matter. You didn't even make it. And if you mess it up so much and you're like, oh no, I actually want to like fix that again, then just re-download it. It's a huge win-win. Paint says, Mia, how would you do a cape that is in the wind like a superhero? I have done that on stream before. Essentially, it's a combination. You can do it manually by using a single plane and like the move brush to move it around. But that is one of the things I think the cloth simulation, like the only thing, I think the cloth simulation in ZBrush does quite well. But that is how I do that. All right, let me go ahead and name some things. Cape. Look at me using all of these folders. Crazy. Just for you guys. All right, the stream is coming to a close. If you have any last minute questions, now is the time to ask. I had so much fun with this. Reduce the poly count a couple of these sections. As of now, I don't really plan to revisit like asset attempts like this like creation bundle, but I might. It's gonna be pretty open-ended, but you can always guarantee you're gonna learn a lot, and it's gonna be a good time. I think I'm gonna end up making this more like a little train almost. It's gonna be cool. Wow, what a success this was. Oh, I'm so glad. Let's get a fun render and then we'll close on out. It looks gorgeous. All right. Just Single says, last second question. What do you think of my wife's painted mini? Well, I must go over to the Discord for that. I think it's awesome. You know what immediately struck me was the highlights on the feet. The little gradient on the feeties. I realized there's much more cool detail happening, much more difficult detail happening with the orcs on its back, but wow, that's awesome. If you're not already, you guys should be in the Discord. Wow, that is awesome. Very cool. I just feel warm and fuzzy and happy inside looking at, you know, the inspiration photo versus what we ended up making. I just think it's gorgeous and it very successful for what I was wanting. Yay. I'm gonna go ahead and save this as a Z tool. It'll be the first one I ever share with students. I'll call it a flower druid. And I'm gonna date it September 20, whatever today is, 26th. So that way you guys can look at the corresponding stream to, you know, learn about that and see how it was made in real time. Well, since the stream bot still works, right now in the chat, there is a link to M3DM Academy. If you want access to all of these files and the Z tool, I am sharing that right now for students. I plan to do at least one high quality stream like this a week, up to 4 times. And I'll be letting you guys know what the schedule is on Mondays. And that will always be announced on Discord. What a delight. Thank you guys for coming back to the Taverb. I just am so thrilled with the lighting in here looks so fancy, guys. Oh my goodness, I have like a box light over here and I have another one here that bounced off a wall. I think it's called a bounce light, literally. Anyway, it's just been a cool thing. Oh, the Streamlabs bot didn't work for me. That's really funny. That's really funny. It worked. There's a link in the description if you really care. Whatever. All right. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And if you have any questions, you guys know where to reach me in our Discord. Okay. Till next time. Bye.